اليوم عندنا محاضرة شيقة قدمها الدكتور جمال نايكر. المحاضرة راح تتكلم عن preparation for FE exam. المحاضرة هذه يقدمها اللجنة العلمية التابعة لنقابة المهندسين الأردنيين، لجنة الارتباط في المنطقة الشرقية. ونقدم شكر خاص للشركة الأساسية للإلكترونيات لتقديم الدعم. ممكن يتفضل رئيس لجنة الارتباط الدكتور عبد الكريم الجبالي يتكلم.
السلام عليكم. الله يمسيك بالخير. Thank you, Dr. Jamal, for accepting our invitation to give this lecture. Thank you for all you for attending this event. And I think this event and this effort from Jordan Engineers Association in the Eastern Province is one of our effort to enhance professionalism among the Jordan engineers. In this time, as the competition between engineers and the competition between people who are looking for new positions and new places, is very high. And so the engineer, as a person who needs these positions and to make new opportunities available for him, needs to have more and more skills and more professionalism in which FE and PE, fundamentals of engineers and professionalism should be one of the tools he can. Dr. Jamal will give this lecture. He was graduated from Virginia Tech.
Back in the days, I guess.
And he is the dean of College of Engineering at Prince Mohammed bin Fahd University here in Eastern Province. Welcome, Dr. Jamal, and thank you for this. And it is our glad to.
Well, I think I'm wired. I don't need this. So that's okay. وشي السلام عليكم للجميع للمهندسين الأردنيين. I'm a proud one of you. So I do hope that I bring in some value to you, taking the time, others too, by the way. I assume that Saudi Council of Engineers and others maybe. So we're all engineers, we're brothers in the profession. Tfaddal.
Also, you are a very active member of the consulting committee.
I am
very active.
I am a member also of a small group of people that we think we know better and we tell people what to do. But it's not the case. We're embedded in companies and places and academics, of course. And I have colleagues that they work in industry. And as such, I think what we want to do is to make the engineer in general, any engineer in the kingdom and beyond, but here in particular to a group of engineers, the Jordanian engineers, to be current with registration, with professional registration in this case and here, so they can either advance themselves within their jobs or they can probably have the freedom to move and do other things. And that's the intent of this. This has been a long waiting, so to speak, initiative that we've been talking about it and wanted to put some concrete maybe steps toward having the reach out to all the engineers. What I did in here are really a compiled material. I go back in my days when you were in college, just before you graduate, then you have to get something. It used to be before it's called Fundamentals Engineering Exam, it used to be called EIT, Engineer in Training. And since then, things changed. It is important to us also in colleges, universities, that because it can be used for assessment purposes and for accreditation. If you want to do any kind of accreditation nowadays, we have to know our product, which is the engineer, getting out of the door, that he or she will have those competences and things that they can do, plus other skills. And from here, this is it. I treated myself to the beautiful slide that the folks here in the group, they put it together. I thought it was very, very nice. So I stole it, plagiarized and took it. I have some books in here that I will pass out so that people can take a look at some sample exams. That's all the ones I have. I made sure that I brought them back in July when I came from the US. I was at a meeting, and I made sure that I get the NC's manual. So I carried them in here. They're one of a kind. They're available on the internet if you register for the FE exam, and you can have them in practice with them. But I would say I'd like them back, so I counted them as 7. Before we start also, like, how many civil engineers in the house tonight? Okay, so there is, I'm going to ask maybe somebody to help out a little bit in here. If you find what I'm saying is not like, you know, exciting or so, you can start looking through some of these manuals. So this is, we'll go in order in here. The other discipline, I'm going to keep it till the end because that can be the binder for everybody else. But the mechanical engineers first. You can pass it along and take a look at the exam. Anybody saw these things before, those materials, or not? One person at least saw them. Civil engineers, there are probably quite a bit of them in here. Electrical and computer engineers, the same. So there's another sample. It says a practice exam. And as a professor, I'm not going to say it's a test like an impromptu test and I'm asking you to do the exam and get it back. No, but just take a look at it and see it. Environmental engineers, civil engineers can take a look at it too, by the way, but environmental engineers, industrial and systems type engineers, good. And chemical engineers, last but not least, chemical engineers. Chemical? Okay, so you can take a look at that exam. I think paper format can give you the feeling of the test. We have what, about an hour? An hour? Tops an hour, right? My next slide is all of us were proud of being Jordanian engineers. So that's the next slide. And then this one goes like this. There you go. And to the sponsors, the hosts in here, the people that we came to their place in here. Yeah. It happened that I have at least 1 or 2 maybe of the engineers that they finished from PMU that they're working here at LSSEU. So this is the title, and they asked me to put in a title. I don't know exactly what to say, except just like, you know, fundamentals of engineering, FE exam, what's it's all about, why take it, and not only that, why take it in Saudi. I may stray away from my slides, because I got to tell you, I put some slides together, so I'm not sure exactly how my storytelling is going to go. But I hope you'll bear with me, and we'll get the best out of it. And by the way, I would encourage anybody to interrupt at any time, ask any question if you have any questions. Maybe I can answer, or maybe I can get an answer to you and get back with you. So what's it all about, why take it, how to prep for it, and pass it, and when and where. These are the things I think that's of great importance to everybody, and I hope I can give you some of these answers. That's my name, my contacts. Now, after I put this whole thing in the last minute, I decided I'm going to check out on our friends on the Saudi Council of Engineers website and see what's there announced. And this is right hot off their website. And here, there is one coming, and I guess if I know how to use this, where is it? There you go. You can see this 27/10/2019 on Sunday. Examination, reporting time 6:30 a.m. Okay? But this is from their website, the Saudi Council of Engineers. The things that you do in North America, US and Canada, is a bit different than you do elsewhere in the world. So there are different requirements, different fees, different testing centers, but all of it nowadays is computer-based. So the paper type of exams are out. Okay? They do the CBT right now. Now, so if I look at this, registration for NCs, by the way, I'll tell you more about it. PE examination, this is a PE examination. Saudi Council is pleased to announce these are the things that they have as requirements. A bachelor degree in engineering from an accredited institution. They don't put ABIT, but ABIT is most of the Saudi universities, of course. Elsewhere, they're accredited by their governments or some like accreditation body, so that should go. Valid Saudi Council of Engineers membership, Saudi National ID or Iqama, I guess. The FE pass certificate with NC's ID. This is if you're doing the PE exam, so you got to have passed the FE exam. Minimum 4 years of certified professional experience after. I'll tell you more about it. Application through the Saudi Council of Engineers profile. The fee payment is about 2,500 Saudi Riyal, and these are the dates. So this is for the PE exam, not for the FE. And by the way, you have to keep in mind that a lot of you are practitioners. I doubt there is anybody who's here a junior engineer, meaning has been having less than 4 or 5 years experience. Anybody with less than 4 or 5 years experience? Very few. So you typically take the FE exam, you work, well, straight out of college, of course, and then you get 4 or 5 years under your belt, and then you go for the PE exam, okay? Oh, by the way, it's waived if you have a PhD, so that's one of the perks. If you get a graduate degree, a PhD in particular, then it's waived. You don't have to take the FE exam. You can go and take the PE exam, just as a point of reference in here. Okay, so obtaining licensure roadmap. First, you have to have a college degree in an engineering discipline. There's a whole lot of different disciplines, of course. The first step is graduating from an ABET accredited engineering program, or just an accredited for outside North America or outside the US. So the second one is FE exam. The first exam in the licensure process is well, that's a mistake in here. Fundamentals of Engineering FE. This exam is offered through Pearson VUE throughout the year. This is the computer-based, and by the way, there are some maybe centers in Saudi, maybe centers to become, maybe interest for some business community and other folks that they can probably endeavor into this and become a certified center. Universities are typically best places to be in this business. And then work experience, 4-year experience as an engineer, and the PE exam. After the appropriate experience required, you can take the Principle of Practice of Engineering. That's what it's called, Principle of Practice of Engineering. In short, it's a PE, means a professional engineer. So we hear much about something called NCEES. NCEES is the entity that puts the test, administers the test, reports on the test, collects the fees, all of these things. So NCEES is the one. And their slogan is advancing licensure for engineers and surveyors. By the way, also surveyors are covered by this. So, they have a different test, but it's any surveyors in the house in here? Like practitioners? I'm sure there are some, but maybe not with us. And this thing stands, the NCEES, we call it NCEES or NCEES. It's the National Council of Examiners for Engineering and Surveying. And this place is out of South Carolina in the US, and that's their address, their phone number. Nothing that I'm telling you in here that's not on the website, with a little bit of maybe just, looking at the website, you can extract those information yourself. Okay. So the NCEES, if I'm to describe it a little bit from their website, NCEES is a US. These are my ad lib in this color in here, but the blue is straight from them. NCEES is a US national, international too nowadays, nonprofit organization dedicated to advancing professional licensure for engineers and surveyors. It develops, administers, and scores the examinations used for engineering and surveying licensure in the United States and abroad. So there's a whole lot of countries. If you look at outside North America, the US and Canada, there's a list of those countries, and Saudi Arabia is one of those, because there is an agreement between NCEES and the Saudi Council of Engineers that goes way, way back, okay, and it's in effect. So they can do tests and things in here. Few countries in the Middle East, Jordan is not one of them, by the way, just for the record, okay? And a whole lot of Arab countries, they're not. Probably Saudi, maybe Qatar, Egypt. Egypt is one of them, yes, but not Jordan as such. And I think we can probably work toward that. They started the process?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So why get licensed as a FE, of course, and then PE, one step at a time? Why? And the reason is, as coded from licensed engineers, a license tells me two things. The person is technically competent. That goes without saying. I think all of our engineers, all of our universities in Jordan, they're top universities that produce good engineers. So you're technically competent, and even your soft skills and things are really great. And that's testimony to this is like you being employed out of the country, and in particular in Saudi. Okay, and also the person is willing to put in the extra effort, like study and do for it, and become like more like a professional along those lines. And a license opens doors and creates built-in flexibility in your career. The best time to take the FE exam, believe it or not, is when you're a junior or a senior in college, just before you push out of the university. The reason is everything's fresh. You remember your calculus, you remember your probability and statistics, your engineering economy, your thermodynamics, your fluid mechanics, your heat transfer. If you're an electrical engineer, your circuits, you remember these things. If you're a civil engineer, your structures. So that is the best time to look at it. Now, when you become a practitioner, you become really one thing and one thing only, and you probably need a little bit of a refresher. If you get your favorite book, I'm sure you can study the material and do it and do well with it. But it's not, uncommon that people, when they practice, they probably have to come back into a refresher course. And that's where the thing in here probably I want to promote the most. We don't have like refresher courses offered. In the US we do it, most universities do it, volunteers and sometimes for pay. But there are products, online products. If I'm to push anything on you, if you're not the type of person who the only way of the modality of learning for you is to be in a classroom with a professor or an instructor to profess to you and teach you. Maybe this is your only way. Nowadays it's not this way. Nowadays, give me the material, give it to me online, and I can control my own destiny, time, could choose the time and make it happen. There's a whole lot of resources, and I'm going to disclose those resources to you, and you probably can sign for it. So with this in mind, I guess we can go to the next slide. There are more in detail 5 reasons to get licensed from the nsp.org website, the National Society of Professional Engineers. And they're out of Alexandria, Virginia, in Northern Virginia. And that's their website. I recommend that everybody, I think you got to have a compass and know where you're going, why you're taking the FE exam, and what's its value. Then you have to go to the NSP website. They have a whole lot of information and videotapes and resources along those lines. So the first thing is prestige. You can be part of the elite. I think if you go to a doctor and he says or they're saying consultant, fellow, did his zamala somewhere in Johns Hopkins, or I don't know. So that gives you prestige. It's the same thing. You're going to be part of the elite group that everybody says, you know what you're doing. If you're building a building, it's not going to fall. Okay? And if you're doing a highway, or if you're doing any other product, that's going to perform well. So that is, as a matter of fact, in the US, civil engineers are the most, they have to be PEs to practice. You cannot stamp. Even في البلاد, I think not everybody can stamp, can? Like if you build a house or something.
It's not a compulsory now.
It's not mandatory in our part of the world. But there you cannot. You have to have a PE to stamp it and make it happen. It's not as important to electrical engineers. As a matter of fact, the societies, ASCE, they insist, even in the US, for an ABIT accredited program, you got to have some faculty that they're PEs. If they don't get their PEs, they cannot, you cannot pass ABIT. Whereas electrical engineering, computer engineering, mechanical, everybody else, you don't have to have it. It's an extra icing on the cake if you have it, but you don't have it, even for faculty. And for the job market is the same way. Now, we're looking at Saudi, and we're targeting the Saudi market. You're going to be competing with probably people coming from outside the country, people from within the country. All the Saudi universities, now they're looking at it. The Saudi Council of Engineers, they're pushing hard. Saudi Aramco, they're actually looking at all their practitioners and say, I think they're about to put a deadline for them and say, you must get your PE or get your FE. And it's becoming the gold standard that they want you to do this and have it done. So for you to keep your job or to advance to a better job, beat the crowd. Be before Muhammad, Ahmed, Mahmoud اللي راح يتخرجوا nowadays from universities in Saudi and outside Saudi. Even engineers from Jordan, I would tell them voluntarily, try to find out how, by the time you get out of college, or if you're targeting the Saudi market to come and work in here, get that extra advantage and take the test and become like on your way of becoming a PE. A Saudi graduate from any of the universities, if he or she, we don't have a she in here at all, right? If he or she, they put on their resume that I got like a 3.0 GPA, okay? Maybe that's a foot in the door for Saudi Aramco to look at them. But a more important thing for managers, technical folks, I don't know about HR folks, but they will look if you have something extra. And that something extra can be, I have the FE exam done, or I am a PE. I guarantee you, your GPA can dip below the 3.0, and you probably will be preferred over the smart, the book smart kind of guy, okay? So that is the reason that you need to probably distinguish yourself from the rest of the people, where on the job where you're working, or to go to another job. So, get back to this. Prestige. Where is it? Oh, this one. There you go. So, prestige. PEs are respected by the public and are seen in the same light as licensed professionals in other fields, like doctors and nurses and what have you. PEs and lawyers. PEs are also held in high esteem by their peers within the engineering community, who see the PE as part of an elite group. Elite technically, okay, and consciously and professionally and ethically. Anything you do as a professional engineer, you're not going to compromise safety of the public and the economy too of the projects. That's part of the canons of being an engineer, okay? Then the career development. Employers are impressed with engineers who have their PE license. Licensure not only enhances your stature, it shows commitment to the profession and demonstrates heightened leadership and management skills. That's important, by the way. All these soft skills, so to speak, soft skills, they distinguish one engineer from the other. And then this credential will add to you. Licensure is also a necessity for rising to increased levels of authority and responsibility. You want to become a CEO of the company, or a VP, or a manager or something, I think that adds to your credentials. And work on all kinds of defense and other things to the government, to the government bodies, or sometimes even in a court of law where they need an expert witness. This adds to you. Sometimes actually it's required that you have to be a PE for you to be on the stand and give your testimony for something that went wrong, and God forbid, of course. Also, many government agencies and educational institutions are emphasizing licensure among their engineers as well. Flexibility, have PE license, you can really hop from one job to the other. Or you can start your own office, consulting firm, whatever it is. So it gives you that extra opportunity. And of course, the best of all is money. Everybody's looking for money, I guess, So you can advance, you can name your pay, or you can get those nice either startup positions if you move, or else at least you can lobby your boss and say, I'm a PE, they're not PEs in the group, so I should be getting double their salary. Is that good? All right. Yes?
Besides these reasons, or let's say advantages of having this PE or FE certificate, is it a prerequisite or a mandatory for licenses as a Saudi Council of Engineering for the license, renewing your license, so you can practice your...
It is not yet. Not yet. They're thinking about it. I mean, you probably know from, I know some people like, for example, Chief Engineer Jamil Bagawin, he was on the board. He was an advocate of it. The current board, the members, everybody, they're pushing for it, but it's not the law of the land, so to speak. So it's not. But they're on their way saying we want to have all engineers. It is, yes. And you need to be, as an expat in here, you want to beat even the nationals from here and become a PE or to justify with like, you know, if jobs are to be for Saudis, which is, you know, that's happening, of course, it's reality. If you want to compete, then you have to be a different kind of engineer, and that can be your ticket. So while it is not mandatory for every practicing engineer right now, and in particular to the Saudis, it may take even longer time for the Saudis to be required to have the PE. I think for the expats of all nationalities, there probably would be more. If you're going to import engineers, you might as well say, I want a PE, okay? So it's going to hit the expats before. Okay, so a homework for everybody is go to the SPE.org, okay? And study that website, okay? And Champion, Guide, Advance, and Unite. That's what they talk about, all engineers. Now, there are different kinds of exams depending on the discipline, okay? These are the ones that I passed on the sample exams to you. I think they're the 7 that they're out. One for, of course, for chemical engineering, civil engineering, electrical and computer engineering, environmental engineering, industrial and systems engineering, mechanical engineering, and other disciplines. And boy, other disciplines it's got a whole lot. You could be a biomedical engineer, you could be an agricultural engineer, you can be a nuclear engineer. It's a hodgepodge of all of those disciplines put together. So anybody's in this category here? A few. Biomedical engineer? Anybody else? Mechatronics, yes. So it would be like, yeah, you'll be like in limbo. You want to go to mechanical, you want to go to electrical and computer engineers, systems engineers is the same way. But you can listen, I mean, in the old days, let me just tell you, the way the exam is done, although nowadays it's not really fair for the new graduates. Remember in the days when we used to have like core engineering courses, back in my days, that if you're an electrical engineer, you have to take the statics and dynamics, probably even thermodynamics or what have you. Those used to be the days when everybody takes the core. Nowadays it's been gone. And nowadays it's like, you know, it's just the major courses. So you're going to find the new fresh graduates, if they didn't take engineering economy, if it was not mandated, then they have to know engineering economy, okay? Statics, dynamics, fluid mechanics, a little bit of heat transfer, probability and statistics, not just the calculus. I mean, these are the kind of things that you look at and see. And I have some samples in the resource in here. I'll bring in some of those maybe, although they're all on the website for the NCs. So they used to do the pencil and paper test back in the days. Nowadays it's all computers. And it's all like quick, kind of like format. Answer this, answer that, move from this to that, and it's timed. It's just like the GRE and the TOEFL in many different ways. Okay? So in July 1, 2017, computer-based FE introduced a new testing component. It's called alternative item types. By the way, they're demos. If you go to the Pearson VUE, they're demos on there, and it walks you through what you expect in the exam, okay? And you walk through it and know it. Not just like the multiple choice, wrong, there's sometimes multiple answers that are right, also you have to check them, but also you can interface with a graph and answer on the graph and make it happen. Anybody took the test recently, CBT, like computer-based? Okay. They converted all of the FE into computer-based, okay? The only thing, the PE, they're still working on some of those. Some are scheduled for releases even into 2024. So the PE exam is still not completely computer-based. Some disciplines are, but some are not, and still they're being converted, okay? So the FE exam. The fundamentals of engineering exam is generally your first, of course, a step in the process of becoming a PE. It is designed for recent graduates and students who are close to finishing an undergraduate engineering degree from EAC, Engineering Accreditation Commission. By the way, there are other disciplines. You could be in computer science, it could be in IT. There are special cases for them that can be looked at a bit differently. If I'm to push in Saudi, okay, and in Jordan too, by the way, I would say it should become a graduation requirement for all students. before you push out of the door, we can tell you take the exam. There are two things. In the US, we use it for assessment, but we say it's not mandatory, okay? Civil engineering, we used to make it mandatory. But for the other disciplines, we say voluntarily, because the numbers they come, if you take it as a compliance, that you take the exam, you know what people will do in here. They just go sit through the exam, sign up their name, agree to pay the fee, and I complied and I got the exam out of the way and give me my degree. Okay? And that's in the US even, it's done. For electrical, mechanical, sometimes we require them. But if you say you gotta pass it, you're not graduating, then people will pay attention to it and make it happen. And if there's any, maybe, I would say, initiative, there should be, and I assume that if I open my mouth very loud and clear with other universities, maybe especially the public institutions like KFUPM and others, if it becomes that before you graduate, you gotta, just like you take an internship, an externship, some of the programs that require that, it could be you must take the FE exam and pass it. And boy, would that make a difference in Saudi. In Jordan, definitely too. Because the students are really fresh with their courses, and we're still, our curricula here in the Middle East, in the Arab world, by the way, still probably beats the curriculum in the US because it's stuffed with too many courses. I mean, last I checked, probably give me any university in Jordan, maybe Just or Duniya or anything. How many hours they take? They take the old-fashioned way, the whole core, the whole thing, right? To others, you don't take exams, right? So we're exempt from that, but you guys can put in some more time, huh?
The longest exam, I don't see that exam 6 hours.
Yes. There is a break though,
Yeah.
and on the computers and on site, like you have to take it this way. There are reference materials. I don't know we continue, right?
Okay, yes, continue.
I'm all for good. Take a break or salah or ba'd. We can go.
We will pray.
Good. There are reference materials, of course, available. I'm trying to find. There you go. Reference materials and exam prep. NC's FE reference handbook is the only reference material that can be used during the exam. So remember, in the past, people used to take, like, if you do your PhD exam, preliminary or something, or qualifying exam, you take all kinds of references. Same thing in here. There is a hard copy, but there is also electronic copy available for you. You'll be provided with an electronic reference handbook during the exam. For access prior to your exam, you may either purchase a hard copy or download a free electronic copy. Register, of course, through MySeas. In Saudi, it's a bit different. You go through the Saudi Council of Engineers, and the fee is a bit different. NC's offers practice exams, of course. Don't go, like they say in America, cold turkey into the exam. You just look what it is, study a little bit, refresh, look at these practice tests. I assume people that are doing the TOEFL or doing the IELTS exam through the British Council. I mean, these are the kind of things that you can get reference materials in practice exams. Practice exams now, yes?
If I take exam in my NCES,
this is, when you do it with the Saudi, you get their approval and you pay through them. It tells you through the Saudi Council of Engineers how to interface with NCs itself. Okay? موقع الهيئة هيئة المهندسين. You cannot do it unless you can probably go to the US and do it at a center in there, and not only that, they're like in the US, they have to know that you're a graduate with a bachelor's degree. Here the Saudi Council takes care of it. If you're in Saudi, it takes care of it much better. So,
for example, for Jordania,
right.
So from where I should take?
From the Saudi Council of Engineers, because you're a paying member of the Saudi Council of Engineers. من خلال الهيئة وإلهم how to do it, the fee, get in your paperwork, all of this. Listen, أنت موثق كمهندس في البلد صح؟ So that goes without saying. شهادتك خلاص هم if the Saudi Council of Engineers tells and sees that this guy's an engineer, العلاقة بينهم الرابطة بينهم, it makes it, this is that they take their word. Whereas if you go as an individual, you have to get your degree, and where is your degree from, which university, is it in their database and NCs, and if it's not, you probably have to get it to one of the like a Joseph Senley or Wes. These are US based, like transcript evaluation. So you get into a whole lot, like as if you go to grad school. Go through the Saudi Council of Engineers.
I have exam, for example, from another country. So it's not recognized from the.
You have it from the U.S.?
For example, if they have.
If you have it from the U.S. and the Canada, of course, it will be recognized right away. But from anywhere else in the world, it has a different process.
As you said in Egypt, that it is recognized now. There is this.
Yes.
There is some entity.
Right. Right.
Or there, that,
Yes, yes.
there is-
Yeah. Whatever is more, if you're in Saudi, working in Saudi, and you're a member of the Saudi Council, you can do the test here the easiest way. Better even than going to the U.S. and doing it over there. Okay? Anyhow, so this is some of the materials that you can look at and see. The examinee being you, and they're the examiners, of course, okay? NC's examinee guide is the official guide, policies, procedures, what have you. Exams are administered in either computer-based format or pencil and paper format. For some of them that did, FE is completely moved to it. PEs is still, like I said. The loss of the PEs, I guess they just started doing the computer-based for petroleum engineers as of 2019. There's some of them still like into 2020, 24 before that's the PE, not the FE side. Testing environment, some of the stuff that you have to know, proper identification needed, allowed in testing. By the way, you get to get a calculator, an approved calculator, and it tells you the specs of it. And for overseas, it has also different kind of calculators, Casio this, Casio that. So it's very strict, and you take your ID there, and just like any test. So this is some of the material in here you can look at it. By the way, we can make this slides available to anybody if you want. So
We will put them in our website.
I'll send it to you. And the next one is scoring and reporting. That's important. I'll show you some statistics, some of the latest of it. Scoring and reporting. FE exam results are typically available 7 to 10 days after you take the exam. Of course, you're going to have a portal. You can log into it. You're going to have your whatever number and this and that, and you can find your results. You will receive an email notification from NCs with instructions to view your results in your My NCs account. Again, through the interface after you do it with the Saudi Council, you probably will be, I've never done it from here, so I wouldn't know exactly what interface is there. Okay? Results include information specific to your licensing board regarding how you should proceed based on your performance. Learn more about the score pass rates, which is important. FE pass rates are shown in the January, June, or July, December population. They're different, by the way. It's like quarters, and they're in America, they're within 12 months, there's a lot of them. In Saudi, it's a bit more like not open to everybody else. Although I could tell you, we can start doing that if we get agreements with other centers and other places and get them to be Pearson VUE certified site. And I think that's possible and doable. So, took the FE exam for the first time, attended EAC ABIT, that's Engineering Accreditation Commission, different than computer science, for example, or technology. Sometimes they allow also technology. There's some universities that they have a degree that's not called Bachelor's of Science in Mechanical Engineering, but it could be like in Saudi, for example, KFUPM, they have a long-standing college that's called Applied Engineering Sciences. So also those people, they qualify to get the FE MP. Anybody in this category in here? There could be like graduates from, okay? But that's another category they can do it. Attend, of course, took the FE exam within 12 months of graduation. Let me just say this. Not all universities are ABIT accredited in the world. They allow for them if they're accredited by a body, accreditation body within that country that has a reciprocal agreement. So if you're in South Korea, they don't have to get ABIT accredited. They can have it through a reciprocity agreement. In Jordan, all the universities in Jordan, I could tell you, probably they're in the database somewhere in the US, and they know the quality of the graduates from Jordan as engineers when they go to grad schools in America. So most probably those, just a small little maybe agreement with the Naqabi or with the country of higher education, some minister or deputy minister for something, that can be arranged and made become like part of that agreement. That's how the Saudi Council of Engineers did. They went and negotiated, although Saudi universities, their American system, and all of them almost, the newcomers maybe, they're still not ABIT accredited, but if you're in Saudi, ABIT accreditation is a must. Okay? Took the FE exam. The next. Exam preparation materials. I'm going to skip through this one in here, but there are reference books, there are all kinds of things. INSEAS itself is wonderful, but there's another company that I want to tell you about. It's called PPI. It's out of California, and they have a whole lot of things that I actually met with them during June in Tampa, Florida, and they're looking for a partner in Saudi to do this wonderful thing. For universities, it's like you get like a digital hub, a portal where you can get online courses, practice like bank tests from in the past. That's for anybody, any university. Maybe you can get it like as a courseware, and from there it's like a $95 infinite for like, the whole semester. You can hop in and hop out on courses and stuff like that. And then the faculty can even get assessment of those students, how they're doing, and then they can take the test definitely. Now for professionals like you, fortunately also, there is another module. It's a bit more expensive. It's by month, and it's like about $200. So for those of you that are really good with this medium of instruction, that if you sign up for it, you can get the most out of it in a month or 2 months, I think it's a good value. And we're looking right now into probably having that kind of thing arranged in here. For the students, all you have to do is just like a valid EDU address. Like you have to be a student, and the university says you're EDU, and we can administer and give it to them. So we're looking into these options. I got more intrigued, and over the summer I worked a little bit on it, although it's not complete as a product. Okay? And for those of you who want to take a look, there's also paper format that I brought with me. It says the FE other disciplines for the catch-all, and this is review manual, pass the exam guaranteed, they say, but on PPI. There's nothing guaranteed. If you take a course and if you don't put your sweat equity into learning, just like we tell students, we give you the solution manual, we give you the textbook and stuff, and you think you can read it and do it, you gotta practice a little bit. Paper and pencil and things to the side and solve the problem, and then check the manual solution. But I want to pass this one for anybody who want to look at it. This is called the PPI, which is the company, and they have really wonderful products, including online. So we'll pass it through here if you want. And this is the practice problems also for the other disciplines. I have just those 2 copies. I brought them back with me, so I don't want to carry any more. So you can take a look at them and see. Now, I think it would be wonderful if we can get even like a face-to-face course, and we talked about this, and I think in Naqabi with Lejni Hona, they worked through the Saudi Council of Engineers, through like a vendor, maybe other vendors if possible, sign an agreement so we can probably have instructors and have face-to-face for some of the people like after work or so, and it will be for pay. That is also, even in the US still, it is for some of the people, it looks like it's the preferred modality in terms of how you learn in setting classes. So we can look into that, and that can be like a business proposition. Okay. And I think the Saudi Council Engineers, the Naqabi, Kifa'at, Njua, to instruct, especially in universities, of course. Plus probably flying people just to do this. All of these are possible. Recording some of those, like if somebody does a thermodynamics at a pressure course, it can be an online, and then it can be offered to the membership. So passing grades in here, look at that. The FE chemical, okay, the cohort was 503. I can go to this. Oh, there you go. 503. Passing rate was 77%. That's the computer-based test, year-round availability for it, and this was the sample in January 2019. They're fresh. Civil engineers, 67%. FE electrical and computer, 69%. Environmental, 77%. FE industrial and systems, 74%. 78% mechanical, and 79% to the other disciplines. By the way, note that in the discipline where it's not mandatory, the passing rate will be higher because they do it because they want to do it. When it's maybe lower, it used to be way lower in the US, It used to be civil engineering because it's mandatory. They used to have to pass it. But these are some of the numbers that come out of the NCs, by the way. You can find these resources even online. Now, if you say the other disciplines, and I said, you're not out of luck. You start to get your FE, basically pass it, and get your PE. And these are some of the other disciplines, as you can see. Agricultural, architectural, biomedical, okay? And biological, civil, of course, and other things. Even with some of them, they have even some disciplines, sub-disciplines. There's engineering physics, engineering science, general engineering, geological and geophysical, materials, mechanical, mining, naval, nuclear, ocean, petroleum, and structures. So there are other disciplines depending if your degree. It should be like a closely related degree to a discipline, and then you can choose that.
For the difference between the other disciplines and the civil, for example, civil engineering.
I'll show you examples of like some of the things you take as civil. So it's going to be heavy on like the mechanics side, the statics, the mechanics of materials, the structures, all the way through these concrete and what have you. And then on the other maybe side, even it can have like maybe hydrology, hydraulics, that kind of subtitles or sub-disciplines within it, okay?
That is the civil, but here in the other disciplines, the structure, for example.
I'll show you, yeah. I'll show you a little bit. Maybe I have some, the resource that I said. Exam scheduling, we talked a little bit about this, so we'll skip through it. Exam registration is the same thing in here. If you do it straight through the US portal, it's $175, but you have to be like, in a site close to it. So if you can't be in the US, you can't do it. International registration, North America is different. Other places, even if you go to NCs and you just navigate through the website itself, you're going to find the different countries. And if you say that I'm in Saudi, it gives you actually how to do it and how to make it happen with the drop-down menus and fill-in forms, and you can navigate through it. It's not really hard to do and gain some information. International standards. I wanted to play this video for this guy in here. Maybe we can, where's my, there's one, play this one. This is this is out of YouTube. You can go there on the website and see why should I become like a professional engineer.
There's global interest in the NCAAS exams as a result of the just broadening of the engineering profession internationally. The world is a very small place today, and it's very common for entities to seek and obtain contracts either outside or inside the United States. We're seeing a lot of interest in the U.S. licensure system because our process has been around for a significant amount of time. It's been tried and tested. We are one of the only groups that I'm aware of in the world that uses the combination of the education experience and particularly the technical examinations. So a number of foreign entities have expressed interest in not only modeling their process after the NCAAS licensure process, but also either developing or in some cases using the NCAAS examinations as a qualifying process. So we continue to be engaged with foreign partners. We have membership in international organizations, all of which the purpose is to try to, again, affect greater mobility and to try to provide what assistance we can to other bodies who would be interested in following the NCAAS model.
Let's go to the directory. I'm not sure how much I have, but I want to show some of the resource material for like some of the tests for the material. Where's the? Yeah. No, let's go to this one. Yeah, the PDF. We didn't open it. Oh, we opened it, right? Okay. These things that are available also on websites, but you have to find them, for example. This is, oh, did I do the similar thing? Which one is this one? It says? Other disciplines. That's for your question here. This is a PDF document, so we can scroll through it, I guess. This goes up and down, we can do it this way. Well, let's just, yeah. This exam, for example, for the other disciplines, these are the subject areas, the knowledge areas that you'll be tested in. Knowledge, mathematics, and advanced engineering mathematics. Number of questions, remember there's 110 questions, okay? There are 12 to 18 of them. That's a good chunk on math, okay? So, and in there, mathematics and advanced engineering mathematics, calculus, basically differential calculus, analytic geometry and trigonometry, calculus, differential equations, you can look at that. Differential equations are important, of course. Numerical methods, algebraic equations, roots of, you need to know your Newton-Raphson method if you don't remember. You need to know a little bit of your chain rule or Simpson's rule or something along those lines that you took it back in the young people not too long ago, but for some, probably if I interviewed this, I still have to refresh a little bit. Linear algebra, matrices, and solving system of equations, typically linear equations, it's not going to be more than that. Probability and statistics, I think that's a course that probably most of the universities in Georgia in particular, not in KSA here, not really, by the way, not every discipline. In my own college, we have only civil engineering that take it. The rest of it we have like, this one. The rest of it they have like math methods for mechanical or something, and it doesn't have the emphasis on probability and statistics. And I think it's a good course. If you have it, then it's going to serve you well in here. If you remember, of course, otherwise it's fresh. How many people they have their old textbooks from college days? Maybe on the old, there are a lot of geeks like us, right? And you still, there's nothing better than my incompressible fluid mechanics that I took it with my notes on it, or like a green for dynamics, or for, these are the textbooks that you bond with it. There's nothing you can learn more from the same textbook you studied from. Am I right or wrong? So if you have it, great. If you don't have it, good luck. Go on YouTube and find that. So, measures, probability distributions, estimation, expected values. I mean, electrical engineers will shine in here because their math skills are. Civil engineers, I'm not sure about you guys. Mechanical and electrical, they're probably more mathematical. Am I right or wrong? How many mechanical engineers in the house? All right, good. Electrical. They're the majority here, so you civil engineers, you got no chance, my friend. Chemistry is another one. Periodic tables, acids, bases, and stuff. So that's another thing that I hate to remember or to know. Instrumentation and data acquisition. Not all probably disciplines have it. If you're electrical, you're going to be strong in that, especially if you're taking circuits, electronics. If your discipline allows you to take the basic electrical engineering, like in the good old days, you should know something about this one in here. But even in today, probably in the field, you know better than anybody else. I mean, everything nowadays is data acquisition. I remember my old days dabbling with things that wasn't really as advanced as now in terms of ethics and professional practice, codes of ethics, NC's model law and model rules, and public protection issues. These are really unique to the U.S. in many different ways. So you gotta be really, I mean, doesn't it ache your heart when you walk in Saudi and you go to the most beautiful hotel and 5 stars and you find the ramp that gets the handicapped people and you need like a 4x4 to pull them up? I mean, is that the case or not? How many architects in here? Architects. You didn't design these places in here. Somebody did. But what I'm saying is also when you in America, if you go there and the sidewalk is not there and somebody's you're liable. If there's a missing something and it's a pothole, or if it's an abandoned column and a little bit of concrete, all of these things are important, by the way, there. And unfortunately, we have the codes and they have it in Saudi, but they're not enforced somehow. And that's really something that probably you should know about if you're tested about it. I'm not sure about the practice in here, but
maybe this is why it's not mandatory yet.
In here? Well, you learn it. We started putting it. I mean, I put a college of architecture and design, and we're shooting to get it accredited in America, and we have courses along those lines. And sometimes the professional societies, the American Society for Civil Engineers in Saudi is huge. American Concrete Institute is huge in here, right? ASME, IEEE, all of them. So they have the same, if you don't get it in your education, you can get it through the professional society. Professional development, taking courses, the CPUs, whatever those CUs units, continuing education, kind of, all of these things are important, and then you can make up for it a little bit in here, okay? Every ABET accreditor that comes in to our part of the world, the first thing you're going to look at for engineers when you put a system together, us included at PNU, is like look at constraints in the design, specifications, safety, ethics, economics. And these, unfortunately, sometimes they get to be ignored amongst engineers, like the old engineers, but nowadays it's reality and it's important. Safety, health, environment is another one, like HC, you can make a career out of it in here, in Saudi in here. Engineering economics, I'm not sure that everybody took it, but that's a course, whether you've taken the macro or microeconomics in the College of Business, but oftentimes there's one, the value of time and money that you studied in engineering economy. It is important in here, okay? Statics, you need to know the free body diagrams and, okay, trusses and forces and things like that, and linear moment diagram and shear diagram, you know these things, right? Okay? Dynamics, of course, you gotta know Newton's second law and a kinetic diagram and some of the basics along those lines. Strength of materials, if you don't know Morse circle or plane stress and plane strain, you're going to be in trouble in here. So you got to review these things. Material science, some of the basics, not a whole lot. Fluid mechanics and dynamics of liquids. You know, field equations are field equations. Whether it's like a stress field for a solid or for a fluid, it's the same. So you got to know, not necessarily the Navier-Stokes equations and the most nonlinear partial differential equations coupled, but no, something like a Venturi or something like a, you know, some of the basic stuff that engineers plug and chug and get some designs and some numbers and make it happen. So that's fluid mechanics. Electricity, power, and magnetism. That's your basic electrical engineering. By attitude, you gotta know DC circuits, you gotta know some, you know, Kirchhoff, Ohm, lows, whatever circuits, and solve for currents and solve for voltages. So that's something that if you're an electrical engineer, probably, you don't want to do this if you're an electrical engineer, you want to do the discipline specific. But if you're in a discipline that you think it's an easier way for you to do it this way, then, you know, this is a general one. Let's bring in the civil engineering maybe, or there's another one, there's a document. Any one of those you like, maybe we can vote for it. You like civil? A whole lot of civil folks in here, not a whole lot of them.
They disappear.
Huh?
They disappear.
They're in demand, I'm sure. We can scroll it. You can see the mathematics, probability and statistics the same way, computational, tools, spreadsheets and computations, ethics the same, engineering economics the same, statics is the same, dynamics, mechanics and materials, fluid mechanics, there you go. Hydraulics and hydrology, structure and analysis, structure and design, geotech, of course it's important, and environmental engineering. So these are the 16 topics. And by the way, each one of them, it tells you construction, 4 to 6 problems out of the 110, okay? So smart studying always pays off, okay? So if you know which section they're going to ask the most, you're going to put the most time and refresh yourself. The one that you know the most by practice, a lot of you probably know concrete and know structures like nobody's business, okay? Then maybe you put less time into it and know how much is the weight in the test on that subject. Surveying, oh, I hate that. I guess I don't know how to do it myself, so. Okay? Is there an interest to do mechanical to see it, or electrical? Yeah, they're the majority today. Electrical, huh? He's going to be biased. He's going to do, huh? Do whatever, both. Electrical بالأول. These, by the way, pamphlets are available, and you can even find them from the website. Okay? We all need to know math and probability and statistics. He probably has electric on this one. I'm not sure they're going to ask you about Laplace transform and things like that, but I think you'll love that Laplace transform. Right? For your, you like Fourier? Z transform, any of those? Communications engineers here, or just Power? Huh?
Electrical,
All right, good.
power and communication.
All right. Engineering sciences, work energy, power need, circuit analysis, linear systems, of course, the frequency domain, time domain. Laplace is this. You remember Laplace? Huh? Frequency domain, time domain, huh? Chaotic, broadband, nothing. None of that. So white noise, look at white noise there. Right? All of that stuff is there. Signal generators, no. Filters, they're going to be, huh? Electronics, amplifiers and the like. Power, single phase. That's who's the power here? Who's got power? That's your game here, right? So you don't have to do much. And electromagnetics. It's a hated topic, right? All of that 3D integrals back in the days. Not in here, but. And definitely control systems. Control systems is important, of course, as you can tell. Plant equations and communications. Fourier again comes in, digital communication, multiplexing, and what have you. Computer networks, digital. By the way, notice it's put for both electrical and computer engineers. So if you're more of an electrical engineer, how many computer engineers in the house?
It's electrical and computer.
You're electrical. You're the only one computer engineer. You're computer.
Electrical.
The degree says what?
Electrical. Electrical.
Baccalaureate. We're not going to the masters or PhD.
No. In bachelor we have electrical and computer engineering.
But you got to be stronger than one over the other. It could be a track in one thing. Okay. You're a computer engineer. You're in trouble. You're in trouble, my friend. Do you know that every electrical engineer is a computer engineer? But every computer engineer is just a computer engineer. Okay? We'll take a shot at it. It's all the 100,000 here.
Please test it.
Huh?
Test it.
And I'm just saying it. He's binary, 0, 1, 0. My jokes tonight, so I'm in a good mood, I guess. Computer systems, hardware, software development, 4 to 6. Look at that. So they have 18 areas, not like 16, maybe the other civil or something. And you could see the emphasis, 4 to 6 questions on some of those like less courses you've taken it either a tech elective or I don't know if it's a degree requirement. Mechanical is the one we promised, and we're going to look at it.
I believe we need another 5 years to study for it.
No. I'll tell you, if you take the refresher courses, no. We used to do it like in a 4-month semester and bring in the kids and give them like thermodynamics, like maybe 2 classes 1 week, for example. Thermodynamics, fluid mechanics. It's just like, the most important things. In many different ways, you're going to teach yourself or be taught for the test. It's not like to go do a PhD in the topic. It's just for the things that you would expect اللي تخرج من الجامعة جرب. شايف نحكي؟ صح. يا دوب. He got a 2.0 and he maybe was on probation a couple of times and got it. These are the major competences that
تحكي عن الأغلبية.
احكي عن نفسك بس. احكي عن حالك وبس. الشباب كلها هنا burn the curve back in college. ولا لا؟ ها؟ Nerds. خلص. Engineers equals nerds. Well, معروف nerds. Mechanical, math, probability, اللي زي بعضهم was scroll through it, okay? Engineering, astronomy, electricity and magnetism, that course is important. Statics, of course, dynamics, kinematics, and vibrations. Impulse, momentum, rigid bodies. These things are like, I don't know about you. If you took dynamics and you stopped, you got to take mechanisms, you got to take gears, you got to take machine design. If you have your Shigley book. Anybody know Shigley book? You start. If you're a mechanical engineer, you're going to study from Shigley, you're in trouble. Now you got to get it back next. It's your Bible. Shigley. خلاص تنجح انت في الامتحان على طول. Shigley. Something happened? Maybe it's God's telling us that it's 7 o'clock. Well, this I have time, by the way. I can. Materials. Material properties, stress strain diagrams, engineering materials, ferrous metals, non-ferrous, manufacturing processes. Yeah, definitely. And thermodynamics, Heat transfer, measurements, instrumentation, just like electrical engineers are supposed to know this one. Mechanical design analysis, like we said, Shigley basically. Piping, bearings, power screws, all, how many, this is the last one? Number, how many? 15 topics, but look at that one, 9 to 14 questions.
10%.
9 to 14 questions will be from that. Yes?
Is it a one-time exam or I need to do it again?
In the US, within 12 months, you can repeat it many times, but you have to pay the fees. Outside the US, I think it's limited, and it's in the Saudi Council of Engineers, I think as many times as they offer, but there is also some time in between. But no, it's not a one-shot. It's if you take it.
I don't mean that. Do I have to?
No, it does not expire. No. The PE, by the way, when you do it, oof, you got to pay money every year, like $300 some, and you have to turn in continuing education units to keep it valid. So that comes in with a perpetual paying, and hopefully your employer will pick it up. Even the FE, by the way, if you convince your employer that you want to take the test, at least they can pay for the fee, or even they can put you through the course or buy the material. Okay? Huh?
They will do it with
Yeah, I mean, if you want them to get into your business, we pay, then you must pay, or else we're gonna fire you. I think I'll do it on my own, and when I pass it, I'd say, hey, I'm done. Maybe you can compensate me for it, or maybe you get the dividend and put it in your resume. We stopped the news, right?
Yes.
Should we go to the next one? We're done.
We're done.
I think we are done.
We're done with the video, then we have to stop, right? There's the video control.
Where's the exam?
Okay, so this is it. I think I don't have much. There's another video I have shown. This is in Saudi, if we're going to keep it in this. A $200 exam fee is payable directly to NCs as part of the registration process. This is very specific to Saudi. And the Saudi Council of Engineers is your portal for your membership. You can look at it and make it happen there. And here's examinees will be provided 1 attempt per testing window and no more than 3 attempts in a 12-month period. Well, it's generous. I'm not sure I want to do it. It's not like a driving test. You're going to do it over and over again. It's just going to relax a little bit, know what your issues are, and then go address them and become better at it. Another video, but here's a thank you, and we got that.
Can you ask questions or?
Oh, I'm here. If anybody wants to.
Now is the question box.
I will start.
Yes.
Yeah, to start with, my name is Ala. Sorry, my name is Ala, and I have 2 questions. Actually, not one. So bear with me.
Yes.
Yeah. For the first question, regarding the license here is provided for us throughout the Saudi Council of Engineers, right? So this license will be valid only within Saudi Arabia.
No, it's valid anywhere. Once you earn your FE exam, you have it. You get a number. You have like a small little thing that says you got it. It's with you till you part this world. Huh?
Also the PE.
The PE, it is a year to year. You have to pay into it as long as you stay in good standing and you do the continuing education units. Then you could be okay.
Yeah, international. Okay.
By the way, the PE is, I don't know how it's handled. I gotta really read a little bit more on it. When you're in the US and you're in one state, each state has its own board. And it could be differences between the different states in the union in the US. So when you do it in there, like I answer to the state of Florida or whatever state that reciprocates with the state of Florida, they can do it as a professional engineer. When you're overseas, guessing, not knowing, Saudis love Texas. The whole union is nothing but Texas, I guess. So it could be like, the one state you have to belong to it, or there may be something for international. I don't really know the answer for that. But once you get your FE, it's with you forever. You don't have to maintain and pay anything else. But if you get your PE after that, you have to maintain and pay the fee. Just like the Saudi Council of Engineers, they collect money from you every year, right? And the النقابة في الأردن برضو تقاعد. Yeah, one more thing to pay for, but it has some value, some good stuff. Second question, yes.
2 questions. The second question is regarding the charter engineer in the UK.
which is better, or
Of course, the American is better, definitely. No doubt about it. I went in there, so I'm not going to say anything else. We can arm wrestle and see who's better, chartered engineer or listen, any professional designation post like graduation, degrees, and also practice is a good one. I'm positive. I mean, engineering design, basically in the UK and everything else that goes with it is really good. If it is easier to get it, hooray. But our friends in Saudi here, in Aramco and places, they want the US system. And I'm sure you can cash in if you're a chartered engineer in the UK, you probably can be exempt or I don't know, some arrangement.
They have their example?
Yes.
He can tell you, I didn't take it, so. العمدة هون هي شوفها.
Regarding the induction done in the MAM, is it provided by our society or not yet?
I don't know.
Is it part of the agreement that we can go to a place and get induction or the training?
The training is a bit different. I mean,
no, I'm talking about the exam itself, how to see the FE. I heard that there is some kind of an agreement.
Yeah, it's a good question. في الهيئة, they have a whole lot of people and staff that are involved with actually عربوا الامتحان. صح موجود. You can take it in Arabic. And I think not to other disciplines. Electrical, definitely, I've seen it. I hosted a gentleman who came from Saudi Council of Engineers in Jeddah. And he gave a talk to our students, and they were coming, pushing, take the exam. And then, give me a Saudi graduate or student in Saudi Arabia who would know the college curriculum in Arabic. بعرفوهاش. مظبوط. we teach. We're all in colleges in here. We teach it in English. إذا بتحكي معهم عربي كلمتين, it's totally different. But if you tell them inductance in English, how are they going to know it in Arabic? They have the exam in Arabic. I think this was meant maybe for those that they probably would not get a chance to do the FE exam in English. So it's meant for all the rest of the graduates. They're probably from systems that may be legacy systems that they have it. يمكن مع انه هندسه القاهره حتى ما كانتش كانت بالعربي. US system, it's SLUG. Slug is a big thing, by the way, like quantity wise. Yeah. So the tests are both systems: the standard international, the meter kilogram second, and the pound foot second. Both. Yeah, both. Question, Tani?
No other question.
I need my books. So and I counted them. So unless you took a test with it and practice test, let me say the following. I mean, we can even probably order copies, or we can maybe through correspondence we get them, or PDF, and then we can make them available. Even you can Xerox it, and who cares, right? I don't think they're copyrighted per se. Okay.
Okay.
No, we have copyright, but we're not safe. There's also 2 exam books, or 2 practice, 2, 4, 6, 7, and then the PPI 2 ones. Yep. Now.
Two questions.
Yes.
Regarding any training courses, there will be soon, and how it will be coordinated. The second question was about Jordan. I don't know if I came late, but is there any program related to...
في الأردن, I don't think النقابي can speak better than I do, by the way, في الموضوع.
Regarding Jordan, the Jordan Engineers Association in Jordan, they recently started the journey contacting with the NCs in order to formalize some agreement with them, and I think in maybe 1 year or less they will reach something, and it will be announced to all of the people how to pass and how to go and to train and all of these things in Jordan.
They have already with the European standard.
What?
Is it going to be mandatory for engineering?
In the way here in Saudi Arabia and in Jordan اللي هو الاعتماد والتأهيل المهني with 4 categories, okay, is a must. I mean, not a must now. It is recommended, okay, but with time it will be must. It will be must. But In the current situation in Saudi Arabia and in Jordan, where the qualification or the accreditation system is the same. The requirements are the same. Okay, and there is a mutual recognition between the two countries. Okay, later they will make it a mandatory. Now they said it is recommended, they're encouraging, they are pushing us. But I think within 1, 2, 3 years, we don't know exactly how when they will make it a must to all the engineers.
It's going to affect the newcomers out of colleges more than the practitioners. If you've been out and you're practicing, it is your own initiative. There's nothing that's going to say we're going to take your degree back if you don't do it. But it is actually, I know a lot of people, by the way, they come back after they've been out of college for a long time, okay? And it could be, I don't know, if you don't have a lot of responsibilities outside the job, I'm sure family commitments and other things, those are important and they have priority. But if you can spare probably a couple of hours per night for some time and refresh on every topic from your textbook and looking at the web material, you probably can teach yourself, can refresh yourself. And again, I'll tell you that this PPI company, they have products wonderful and banks of questions, lectures online, resources unbelievable, but it comes with pay. But with it comes the convenience. If you're an online kind of person that you can learn and commit, that's the best. You don't need me or need anybody else that you sit in a room and be lectured to and do it this way. If face-to-face is, it takes commuting, it takes commitment, it takes other. From home, on your phone and your laptop at home, you can do a whole lot. And that's what I'm trying to push for. By the way, I said this before. If there's any for money organization that's going to do it, we wanted to find a way to do it either at cost through al-Naqabi or Lajni, or to guide you and tell you, fellow Jordanian engineer, okay, here's the resource on the internet. You can buy it on your own as a corporate person, individual, and you get it at cost. And I think it's a bit pricey, like about $195 some per month. It's time to sign up for a degree program somewhere at KFUPM or here, and just send the .edu email, and then maybe you can get the treatment like students.
الهيئة عملت الدورة قبل سنة تقريبا، كانت 200 ريال
200 ريال subsidized, right? Right.
200 ريال كانت. حاولنا نسجل فيها
But هذا بيكون
نحاول نعمل شيء مع مركز التدريب إن شاء الله.
هذا بيكون اللي هو classroom, okay? Classroom. So the classroom. By the way, let me tell you something. If you want to learn thermodynamics, okay, what's the best way of doing it? MOOCs. You know what MOOCs is? MOOCs. Online courses. Open courseware at MIT, at Stanford, at anywhere else, Berkeley. You can go to the best professor. If Jamal Naifi is not your best professor in dynamics, go find العلامي فيها في العالم كله. What's the other guy? Khan. You know the Khan University? Have you heard of him? تتعلم math, go على Khan. ليش تروح عند واحد ثاني? But the thing is the drive and the commitment that you have, and you want to get it done. The younger you are, maybe the more you can commit to it than the other people. Your career is like, if you're at the sort of like approaching retirement and enjoying life. I'm not saying you're going to be obsolete, but if you want to be enjoying life and retiring, maybe that's not a priority for you to get the next job. But if you're a young professional, mid-career even, okay, you got to be very aggressive and you got to secure your future and open up other opportunities for yourself. And that's the people that probably should commit and get on with it before the rest of the people do it. Yes? Shabina.
What about the fire protection engineer?
I'm glad you asked. It's there, by the way. The PE and stuff is still enrolled in. PE even. Yes, there is fire protection. Yes.
What about
FE, you want to go to the other. That's it. You got to fire protection. Did you get a degree in fire protection?
No, I have experience 11 years for that.
I know, but what's your degree in?
Mechanical.
There you go. You got to go mechanical, or go general. Fire protection only at the PE بتنفعك الحكي هذا. لأنه
This is my target.
you know, fire. You did it by experience, by being on the job in fire protection. You know how many universities in the world do have fire protection engineering?
One in Jordan, one maybe college in.
لا شيء ها؟ لا
One in Jordan, one in UK.
Jordan safety, general safety, I think. Safety and.
There, huh? The best university in the world in fire protection is University of Maryland. They have a long-standing program. Even Saudi Aramco here know about it and they send their people to it. The second institution, go to their programs online, WPI, Worcester Polytechnic Institute, outside Boston. That's very well known. A third one, I think, in Colorado.
What's the first one?
The first one is University of Maryland. Maryland is the best, معروف عنه. The second one is WPI. WPI is Worcester Polytechnic Institute. If you go wpi.edu, بيطلع لك. And they're known for their fire protection program. And they have an online master's degree, by the way. The one in WPI. So there are, for the PEs, there are other disciplines. But listen, if you brush up on anything, you can brush up on mechanical and get the general or the mechanical, okay? And then the fire protection, then that one you can focus on. For safety engineering, for maintenance engineering, for all kinds of things. I'm not sure if they all have PE, but fire protection it has.
PE available, yeah.
Yeah. Good.
I would like to ask about the difficulty of the question. Does it need a deep study, as we were using in
Not the deepest. It's a broad. Okay, questions. I don't think they're going to be like your professor اللي حطوه على الانترنت. شفتوه هذا الاستاذ اللي انتوا بتدرسوش ومش عارف ايش شو اسمه هذا في الاردن موجود ها هذا شفتوا البروفيسور هذا كلكم سقطتوا مش عارف ايش. I just saw it ها
كل بنجحوا كيف
شو اسمه كيف نجحتوا يجي انتوا ابوكم بتحكوا ها حمدان مش حمدان الاردني ولا وين هو كان معروف listen the American system is totally different. I mean, I've been exposed in here and there, okay? It is not people don't want to test what you don't know. They want to test what you know. In the US even بتلاقي الاستاذ اللي من اصل عربي حتى المصريين مش بس جماعتنا يعني من الاردن وفلسطين اللي جايين هذول بتلاقيه رجل كانه يوم الامتحان حتى الامريكان تعرف للطلاب بده يروح يجيب روشته صغيره روسيه واحد عبقري ماث وبحطها وبده ما حد يجاوبها شايف يعني that happens but not in these exams. هلا شفت الاسئله شفتها. It is if you've done your work, if you understand the subject matter, الفهم أكتر منه, and then becomes the mechanics of solving. And you have to be quick in moving them from one problem to the other. But no, it's not the most complicated. Yes. اسم الجامعة? Fire protection? University of Maryland. Maryland. Huh? WPI. It's funny the way it's written. Worcester. It says Worcester, but it has an R. Worcester. WORCHESTER. Worcester. By the way, anybody works for Saudi Council for Saudi Consult here? في حد بيشتغل في Saudi Consult? WP. P as in Paul.
Polytechnic.
Worcester Polytechnic Institute. Anybody from Saudi Consult here? Big company. تعرفوا ولا لا؟ Civil engineers. وينكم؟
معروف.
Its founder and president is a graduate of WPI. Yes, this is it. Worcester Polytechnic Institute. The Bostonian, Boston بنتخوها Worcester. They never say Worcester. Worcester. So it's called Worcester Polytechnic Institute. It's a beautiful college town outside Boston, about an hour and a half. And it's طلع fire protection. By the way, the fire protection there, civil engineering is run forever and ever by a Moroccan American. اسمه Dr. Taher اسمه. If anybody want to go to that program, even do a master's, علي القبول يعني if you have that. اسمه Dr. Taher القرشي. He was the civil engineering chair for a long time, but also he's the one was heading the fire protection system, the master's degree program. طلعت على fire protection جبته؟
It's a program. Yes.
It's an academic program, master's degree and an online. Degrees. Oh, there is even certificates. You don't have to get a bachelor or a master's degree. You can get a certificate.
Yeah.
شايف طلع البرنامج؟
Okay, طيب.
Huh? I spent some time in there. That's why I know this. Yes, they have online and they have everything. Hey, طلع شوف.
Master and PhD.
Master and PhD. It's a private university, by the way, but it's an elite university. It's very well known. في عندهم شغلة معروفة عنهم اسمها project based engineering من زمان. يعني عندهم كل طلاب لما ياخذوا projects ولازم يسافروا برا. You know, everything like Engineers Without Borders, like you know, that kind of stuff. A certificate, you can do it online. And actually, I wanted to do it here, and I spoke to people in Saudi Aramco, and they want to like push their engineers to do it. And then University of Maryland, and there's I think Colorado State University.
Okay, any other?
I know we finished the time and more. صح?
No,
but I hope I wasn't
I think it is
boring.
Interesting talk here, and I think Jordan Engineers Association here in the Eastern Province has many ideas now, and we can accept any idea from you in order to use the opportunity of Dr. Jamal availability here in the Eastern Province, and to use the FE and PE to give our people to have more qualifications and more professionalism in their life.